Ole Miss dropped the game against Florida 24-17. This is a situation that I would feel strongly that Ole Miss should be out of the playoff field. Their resume, albeit they have a good win over Georgia, is extremely shaky. Quick thought on the game. Lane Kiffin does exactly what he does in these games where they've lost, where they should have pulled out a victory. Outcoached himself, could not get the run game going, could not find ways and avenues, and ironically waited until the very end of the game to try and rely on his run game and still set up Ole Miss into just really poor passing situations that allowed for Florida's edge rushers to tee off on Jackson Dart. 42 passing attempts is way too many that they even should have attempted in this game. But Ole Miss's current resume, it's a shit show. There should not be a 3-loss SEC team. If there is one that gets into the playoff, South Carolina has been more impressive than this Ole Miss team. What am I banking on as their best win? Beating LSU, smoking Arkansas, beating Oklahoma by 12 points. Understandably, they've got a great win over Georgia, as I mentioned at the lead into this segment. But I do not feel comfortable with the way that Ole Miss has played this year, and then this being the final nail in the coffin for them to get knocked out.
This is a total auto out, in my opinion, because we're talking about expectations for the playoffs. I have no expectations that Lane Kiffin is going to have this team like ready in an even bigger game in the playoff. This is a game against Florida, and as Florida played a little better as of late, a little bit. They're competitive. They had a tough schedule. I don't know what they're going to do with Billy Napier after this hellish year that he's had with odd bright spots like this game. But today, Lane Kiffin showed us he played all the hits. He got too cute on 4th down. He could have kicked the field goal. Running with a big defensive tackle, got stuffed. Jackson Dart looked like a Heisman candidate in the first half. Did not look as such, to put it nicely, in the second half with some brutal interceptions. Really didn't like what I saw from him down the stretch. It was stupid play calling. It was a big moment to really carry yourself into the discourse. Lights were somehow too bright in the early slot today for Lane, and he got it out of the way and saved us the breath that we're going to have to waste about thinking about whether they're going to be, what seed they're going to be. No, they're going to end up as like the 14th team, maybe 12. Sure, if you really want to bump them down that little, but they are not going to be in the CFP. I would hope that the committee realizes they don't have the mettle to play in the big ones or win the big ones. When no one's looking at them, Ole Miss can do some damage. When everyone has the magnifying glass and it's time to nut up, they disappear.
Well, actually, I mean, I'd partially argue it's somewhat of the inverse because their two of their 3 losses are to Florida and to Kentucky. They did step up against Georgia, but they are not a team, though, as you said. I can't really truly trust them, especially that what was supposed to be their strength, their defensive line, getting run all over for 164 yards and Montrell Johnson completely popping off. Lane continues to fail to meet expectations. And I thought that after the Georgia win that they had rallied and they'd figured out some of their issues, and the LSU loss looked a little bit better and also wasn't too bad of a mark. But the way that LSU has played makes Ole Miss's performance against them called into question even greater. They are a mess of a team, and the direction of this team going forward after spending all this money in the offseason, it's a waste. It's a true disappointment, and it's a complete embarrassment on Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin's part.
And it's egg on our face a little bit because we continue to get excited for them because Portal King is happening, and he's kind of online, and he chops it up with Feinbaum a little bit every year, and he's likable. Lane is likable, and the team, they can be exciting, and they got big wide receivers and big defensive linemen that can make plays, but they never really do anything. So maybe I'm fully rescinding my future 2025 momentum. I'm going to take a little mental clip of myself right now on November 23rd. So when it's July 23rd and we're already starting to talk about the SEC teams that we're excited for, I'll remember not to get excited about Ole Miss.